and welcome to Pick That One Out, a weekly podcast trying to pick out the fun left in football. My name is Jack Murphy. I've still not had a haircut since the start of lockdown. It's getting really, really bad. I'm joined by my co-host, Will Varney. Will, it feels like ages since last week. It feels like Tuchel's been in the Chelsea job for months now. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's been a very long week. Thank you, everybody, for listening into episode 2, if you did. Jack, it's a pleasure to be back. And I think all good things come in threes. So hopefully we've got an absolute thrill on our hands. I like what you said about the haircut. I didn't really want to say anything. I didn't want to stick a knife in your back. But no, I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, we say it every week now. Yeah, I've got a real long mop on me myself, which I would love to trust somebody in my house to really get the sort of the garden shears out. But it's always a risk. It's always a risk. And I got my dad in the first lockdown to really go all out. And I mean, I've never seen somebody so excited in all my life to be offered to cut my hair. It was almost like he'd been offered like a Jubilee medal. But no, very happy to get this episode underway. And yes, it's been an emotional week like it was last week with Tuchel now in the job. No Frank the Tank at the helm. But I have to say, 2 performances, which we'll get into in a bit. But
of course.
I have to say, not feeling too bad.
Fair play. I mean, last week there was one main talking point in our football podcast, and that was whatever happened with your Maltesers hot chocolate. It was something I've never seen before in my entire life. You've said the Breakfast Club was returning. Should we get us underway? Start early?
Well, let's do it. Yeah, I mean, then we had some great reaction to Breakfast Club, the opener, last week. I was very surprised. I had people coming up to me going, "What were you?" I had people at work coming up to me going, "Basic error, no hot water in it, just go milk." And somebody actually, a friend of mine, Jess, actually made me a special hot chocolate. She wouldn't tell me the recipe. Made it at work, and I have to say that was incredible. Really did put the Maltesers to shame. But yes, Breakfast Club, it's back, week 2. And I've tried something today which I couldn't mess up. I couldn't actually do any damage.
I would have thought that last week, the hot chocolate, but okay.
Well, I mean,
too technical.
You can't trust it.
That was the technical. This week we've got the showstopper.
Yes, this is the showstopper, which I have had nothing to do other than go into the co-op and buy it. Other stores are available for this, but I have today gone for, in memory. She's actually still alive.
Yeah.
It is a broadcaster, host of the TalkSport breakfast show. I've served her breakfast many times before, so it's only suitable that on the Breakfast Club I honour her. It is Laura Woods, and I've gone with today an exotic fruit salad.
Okay.
I have to say this is. And do you know what? When I was picking this out with 20 minutes before we recorded, Jack, clearly I thought this through in advance. I looked at it, and I have to say I was very impressed with the selection of pineapple, melon, mango, and kiwi. For me, I just thought there's a lot in there, a lot to get through. And I think this could really pick me up throughout the show because there's such a wide varying selection. So I'm going to get stuck into
I'll let
pineapple.
You get stuck into that. I think I'm glad to hear that
Whoa,
Laura Woods is...
It's a big chunk. It's a big chunk, I have to say. Whoa, for the YouTube.
Wow.
For the YouTube, you won't see it if listening to on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, but wow.
A
could have at least cut this in half.
A massive
Ridiculous.
chunk of pineapple, some real premium stuff. I was going to say, glad to get Laura Woods' name on the rankings. Clinton Morrison last week obviously let us down with his hot chocolate, but Laura Woods, big fan whenever she does the football, big fan when she does the darts as well. I'm a huge fan of the darts, and especially Sky's production of it, and she does a great job on that as well. So let's see if she gets a good choice in breakfast. How's that fruit salad going?
Well, I have to say, a couple of points. Probably shouldn't before this have brushed my teeth.
Okay, I mean,
the combination of pineapple and Colgate toothpaste has not really mixed well.
As the man that came up with this entire segment, you're a comedy of errors.
Yeah, I haven't thought this through, have I? We're at week 2. You would have thought we'd have sorted out this error in advance. But I have to say, it's a soft bit of pineapple. I'm just a bit wary. I don't want this to become like a... You know those videos where it's like AMSR? Like
ASMR.
And, it's like ASMR. People... Yeah. What is it?
ASMR. AMSR. That's probably something different.
Well, yeah, that's probably something we shouldn't go into on a football-based podcast. But I don't want it to become one of those podcasts. That's not really what we're about. So I'm going to be wary of how much I eat and when I time it throughout the podcast. But first piece of fruit out of the 4 exotics done. And the pineapple was actually all right. So we're off to a winner, Jack. We're off to a good start.
Looks like no qualms with the portions. There was a massive bit of pineapple. I have to say the other melon and whatnot.
I could be eating this into 2022, Jack. I have to say, there's a lot of fruit in here. So we're gonna. Goodness me, we're in for a thriller.
Well, there was a lot of fruit in the fruit stand. There was a lot of football in the week. There's a lot to deal with.
A lot of football.
Of the weekend
and
in midweek. Yeah, it's tough to comprehend. Probably the biggest one that we saw pre-week, the one that we were looking up to the most maybe was Arsenal Man United, which of course means it was the worst game of the week, a 0-0 at the Emirates. Both teams had some half decent chances. Arsenal without Kieran Tierney, Bukayo Saka, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Personally, as an Arsenal fan, I believe we could have won it if we had the full strength team out. I'll take the point. It's not often we go a season without losing to United, so to take 4 points out of 6 against them, I'll take it. But United now, I mean, in the same week they lost to Sheffield United at home at Old Trafford, 1 point in their last 2. Last week we were talking about them being title contenders. Have they already slipped off that?
I mean, it's hard to say, but I have to say, with that Arsenal game, I really did think to myself, Arsenal had a real chance of winning that, especially in that second half. United looked second best at times. They're such a strange team, aren't they? It's almost like whenever you think they're on a downward spiral, they then pick it up and people are saying, "Whoa, they could be title challengers." And then like it just was written. It must have been written in the stars, wouldn't it? Bottom side Sheffield United going to Old Trafford, winning 2-1, getting that victory, putting Ollie and I think that's the thing. They're such a strange side, Man United, and at times they play like you're almost thinking, are they actually worthy winners compared to say like City or Liverpool? Could you see them win the league? I thought at a point in the season, like I think I've thought with every team, they could win it at some point because it's just been such a bizarre season so far. But for me, I just think they rely so heavily on Bruno Fernandes. It's ridiculous, and if he's not at it, they're not at it in total. So for me, but I found this really interesting point, Jack. I don't know if you saw this. I found it so funny from the Arsenal game. Over in Norway, you obviously signed the new star boy, Martin Odegaard. And for me, I saw this on the TV coverage. It was like the viewers were voting for their man of the match. Martin Odegaard was the second highest voted with 44%. That was before he was subbed on.
It's half time.
I mean, it reminded me of like the Brit Awards. You know when it'd be like, let's vote for video of the year, and you just know One Direction's going to win it. Like everyone's going to come out and vote for them. I found that so amusing. I think it was like Bruno Fernandes, Martin Odegaard, and then Edinson Cavani. Brilliant from that.
And what made it funny is out of those three, Martin Odegaard probably had the best first half. I think Bruno Fernandes wasn't really on his game. Hasn't been for a week or two now. Jack Grealish kind of coming back into the ranks for player of the season for me now, as we were talking about the other week. Yeah. Edinson Cavani, 2 great chances. One was nearly an open net, really great last-ditch defending, but Cavani really should have scored in one of them, especially for such a clinical striker. They did.
Chances,
but we did as well, and we had it fall to Willian. That's a sin in itself.
You would, of all people in that
anyone
position,
on the pitch,
you would want it to be him, wouldn't you? You know, he's that talented, I think. You would want him, and he's been in such great form as well, in such great nick so far for Arsenal. It's almost like you can't understand why, for many years as a Chelsea fan, I was so hurt seeing him start every week.
I've never seen a one-on-one from such a decent angle that I was so unconfident it was gonna go in. It was like it's 8 yards out, decent angle, but he stalls, and Wan-Bissaka gets in. He doesn't even get the shot on target in the end, which is a shame.
But do you know what? I don't understand, because for many years as a Chelsea fan, I remember when he signed, I bought a Willian shirt. Now you would be unable to find that shirt because I've hidden it away just because...
Do you still own it though?
I think it's at home. I think it's hidden in a drawer somewhere, just tucked away for, a rainy car boot sale in 25 years' time. Or it might go retro. Maybe somebody wants a 2013-14 Willian away shirt. Maybe that's... When he
good money. When he has his career renaissance second half of the season, people will think, "Wow, I want the retro Willian shirt as a board."
Do you know what I find so crazy? what I find unbelievable is that for so many years as a Chelsea fan, I saw how bad he was for us. And he got away with so much. He had a season where he scored about 5 free kicks and everyone was like, whoa, it's Gaka, reignited. It wasn't. It was Willian in a poor Chelsea team scoring set pieces.
It was the season where
he's got
you
no
were
end product. You see it.
Yeah, it was the season where you were like bottom half for a lot of the first half of the season.
Yeah, it was when Mourinho got sacked.
Yeah, and it was like Willian was playing to his same level, and then everyone else had just dropped completely.
Everyone else had just exactly that. I couldn't have put it better myself. Willian was still at his level. Everybody else had just like capitulated and was just way down at the bottom. But
I don't want to rag on Willian all. I mean, we could come back to him later on.
We could do a Willian podcast.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Later on, he could come back up in this podcast. So let's look at what we've looked at Arsenal United. We've looked at United in general. They had not a great week. Someone who did have a good week, Liverpool, looked back at it, even with all the injury problems. 2 great 3-1 wins against teams high up in the table, 2 top 6 teams, I believe, at the start of the week. West Ham and Tottenham. The Tottenham game especially, they were so good and so controlling over a Tottenham team that was probably the best chance Tottenham had at beating Liverpool in some time. And then West Ham, when you thought, okay, Liverpool normally do over West Ham, but West Ham, they've been looking good recently. They could do something. And then Liverpool just come out and score 3 fantastic goals. Mo Salah really getting himself back on form after that little drought period. A man like him can go over that drought period and still be 3 goals clear of the Golden Boot race. It's absolutely incredible the standard he's playing at. So now we have to cast Liverpool right back in the title race as well.
I never took them out of it.
No.
I never took them out of it because of just the quality that you see they have. And if a team is winning at West Ham, who, like we say, have been in great form, West Ham didn't really look up for it. And I saw this, it was really interesting at the start of the game. David Moyes did a pre-match interview. I don't know if you saw it. And he was basically saying, the interviewer was going, this is a great opportunity for, your team against a weakened Liverpool side. They were playing Divock Origi up top, no Mane in the squad, Nat Phillips at centre-half. It was like their 12th centre-half partnership of the season. And they're going, this is a great opportunity for you, isn't it, David, to really pick up a big victory against Liverpool. And he was going, we can't be compared to them. It was almost like he sounded like they'd lost before the game. And I think they took that into the match because they just, at times they looked just miles off what they had in previous weeks. They looked sloppy on the ball, looked tired. And I have to say, I actually turned off the game in the first half. I watched the first half and I turned it off, and clearly I jinxed it because then obviously we have 4 goals in the second. So clearly it was thanks to my luck. But for me, it was disappointing from a West Ham perspective. But talking from a Liverpool, when you've got a player of such immense quality like Mo Salah, he's going to deliver. And like you said there, he's top of the Golden Boot, even though people are saying he's not up to the same standards he has been. That says a lot about a player. I can't believe we ever let him go from Chelsea. That still pains me to this day, and for me, he's such a talent. But if Liverpool can grind out victories without their full strength squad, that says a lot about them. And you think if you can, Mane back especially from this little injury, Firmino back, Firmino scores in against Spurs. That would be huge because he's looked off the pace this season. He's had question marks about him and whether Liverpool should have signed a striker. They should have signed Timo Werner. I know what to say for that one. Don't worry about that. So, I mean, personally, I think they're looking really good. And also, Trent in that Spurs game. Huge for him. There's been so many question marks about Trent this season and whether, who has he still got that right back spot for England? Is it Reece James? Is it somebody else challenging?
Is it one of the other 13 England right backs?
Season.
One of the other 13 English right backs could come in and.
Don't forget now that Thomas Tuchel thinks we could actually give England another one. So let's put Hudson-Odoi at right wing back. But for me, no, they look really good, and I've always thought that it was between them and City, but I always thought they would come out on top. And if they're grinding out victories without a full strength squad, I can't look past them at the moment personally.
I'm still on City. I've been on City all season. It was ropey during that start a bit of the season. They were really off it, but they look so solid.
Would you remember at that start of the season, Jack? Everybody went. They had about two defeats, and everyone went, they're out of it.
Yeah.
They're done. They're off the pace. And then all of a sudden you look back. It's happened all season with every team. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know when they next concede a goal. I think they've got Burnley next. I mean that's a 1-0, a 2-0, pretty standard stuff.
Thank God that one's not in the predictions.
Then mind you, after that, then it's Liverpool at the weekend, and that's such a massive one in the title race. But then Tottenham after that, I don't think Tottenham go near them. I mean, we'll talk about Tottenham in a sec. You mentioned Timo Werner and his bad form. Thomas Tuchel has come in at Chelsea, and within a week of being in, he's already been in the dugout for 2 games, 0-0 against Wolves and 2-0 against Burnley. I will say the Burnley game, he looked a whole lot better than he did in the Wolves game.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Wolves game was dire to watch at times. I just literally wanted to close. I wanted to close the laptop screen and just put it away and just consider my life and the fact that we'd lost Frank Lampard and we'd been resorted to this. You know, at times I thought the Frank Lampard side was poor to watch, but that was just, it had the sort of cutting edge of a spoon up front. You know, couldn't do anything. It was, and I mean, I remember the day after when Chelsea put out that tweet.
Oh, I'm so glad you've brought it up, because I'm sorry, allegiances aside, that's embarrassing.
I was so embarrassed
to upload a piece of play of 16 passes in the grand scheme of stuff in a game where you have all the possession. 16 passes isn't that much. In a move where
could do that down the park.
The majority of the passes are across the back line.
Yeah, side to side,
which ends in a shot that isn't really a good chance and goes high and wide. It's such an awful bit of propaganda trying to boost the ego of the new manager. It's so strange.
I wonder who's in charge as admin. I wonder who they are. I wonder whether he thought, I'm going to do this off my own back, or somebody's told him and he's gone, please don't do this.
Don't make me do this.
You're going to get me so much hate. Please don't do it to me. And they've gone, no, you need to do this. You need to showcase our 16 passes of the 820 we made. Look, at the end of the day, it was one of those where it was so side to side. It looked void of ideas at times. And I think after the game, I was really frustrated because I thought, is this really what we've come to? As in, you know, we have no attacking threat, but we've got such great talent on the pitch. And I thought, you know, give Tuchel to the Burnley game. You know, he's got more time then for that can be his first sort of proper game to really showcase. And I was really impressed. There were good signs from that Wolves game, and one of them was Callum Hudson-Odoi at right wing back. I thought he looked really good, and he looked really good against Burnley as well. You know, Eric Peters must have been thinking, should I just go home? You know,
I'm not
Robbie
sure.
Brady,
Did you see the tweet from I think it was Liam Toomey, the Chelsea reporter, saying he could hear on the sideline Sean Dyche saying...
It was to Robbie Brady,
yeah. Tune in, Robbie. And Robbie's going, I know where he is. I can't fucking do anything about it.
I mean, no wonder after I saw that tweet, I then look on the game and you can see Sean Dyche on the touchline and Robbie Brady's been subbed off. I completely missed that subbing off. So clearly Sean's gone, no, you can get off then if you have no idea on how to stop him. But nobody could.
No.
And I mean, when Tuchel took him off and replaced him with Reece James, they looked like they couldn't deal with Reece James either. So, I mean, for me, that was a really positive sign. I think I would never have guessed Mr. Consistent, Captain Cesar Azpilicueta, to get the first goal of the Tuchel era, which may last a year. Everyone keeps saying it's the Tuchel era.
Yeah,
it may just be about 6 months.
There's never eras at Chelsea, is there? It's the Tuchel stint at most.
It's the Tuchel months in charge. And no, I thought we looked really good. And I mean, when I saw the team sheet and Marcus Alonso back in it, goodness me, what a revival. He just loves at the right time to come in. Ben Chilwell must be sat on the bench thinking, 50 million. And now I'm sat on the bench for Marcus. But he's a really good left wing back. He can't play left back because he just can't defend. Left wing back though, and he's just some incredible world beater. It's insane to watch.
So I'm watching this game. I'm seeing a right winger being moved into right wing back and having a renaissance of his career. And I'm seeing Alonso scoring. I'm seeing Azpilicueta scoring. And I'm just waiting to move to the touchline, waiting to see Antonio Conte's face. Because it really is reminiscent of that team. But yeah, it's funny that you bring Tuchel in to get the most out of these multi-million-pound signings, and the best players were the players that were already there, Alonso, who scored, Azpilicueta, and Hudson-Odoi, who came for the youth, and Mason Mount.
Yeah.
and
and
Timo
still
Werner
Kai
still...
Havertz and Timo Werner,
Havertz, after his start against Wolves, already benched. Werner got a good chance against Burnley, started as an attacking midfielder / forward, then even got moved in the second half to the main striker, got a chance, scuffed it. I do feel like the goal's coming, but he just
Do you
can't
know what?
hit
It's
a barn door at the
reminiscent to
minute.
me. It reminds me. I don't know about you. It reminds me of when Fernando Torres joined us.
Yeah.
And I know that Timo Werner has scored for us, but he's on this goal drought at the moment. But it's almost that feeling of like, at the start it was like, oh come on, it was frustration. Now I actually just feel sorry for him, because it's like missing that penalty against Luton. You just think everything at the moment is sort of going wrong. And I think that chance will come. I think that goal will come, regardless of whether it's a good goal or just a tap in, just anything to increase that man's confidence, because you know he's a player.
Yeah.
But when somebody is just, you can tell, is so down on themselves like that, and it reminds me of Torres when he finally got that first goal against West Ham. It was just that, not only just the relief you could tell on the pitch from him, but all the players as well. And I think that'll be the same with Kai Havertz. When Kai Havertz finally does something, it'll be that same relief around the team of going, finally, you can really kickstart it now. But yeah, I mean, I have to say, last week I was in this position. I was very emotional. Sad times over Frank. A week changes, and 2 clean sheets, 4 points. It's a positive start. Let's see if we can push for top 4. That's all we got to aim for at the minute.
Fair play. Someone that's looking to be ever so slightly falling out of the top 4 race though is Tottenham Hotspur, and they've had a poor week themselves. We've already mentioned their game against Liverpool, where they scored a great goal with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, but that was the only real chance they had. They had an offside goal chalked off, but other than that, there was no real chances for them. I think they created... I'm a big XG fan. I do look up on the XG.
You're a big stat man.
0.1 XG. Not much on the Højbjerg goal. It wasn't an expected goal. It wasn't very high in the expected goal rank.
Yeah, it says a lot, that.
So they lost 3-1 there. Big game at Brighton. And God bless Graham Potter. He's deserved a result like this for so long. Dominated Spurs.
Isn't it their first home
win? I mean, they won one home game all year last year. It was against us.
Oh,
that was the whole Leno Mopai game.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember the one.
Yeah, but Potter this time they've come in. Once again, they've played their game. They've dominated Spurs. They've absolutely dominated Spurs. I don't care if you've not got Harry Kane playing. Brighton have played them off the park, scored early, and it's not deterred them, and they've gone on and they've controlled the game from there. 1-1-0, should have been 2 or 3. But now it's starting to look ropey for Spurs. Next 2 games, Chelsea and Man City. What does this mean for Jose and the Hotspurs?
Well, this is a Spurs side where they will inevitably turn up in the big games. They will inevitably put on a show, and I think the Chelsea game will be really good. And I think the thing is, we've seen these past 2 games especially, Harry Kane picked up that injury, and they just look void of ideas without him, don't they? You don't have that link up with Son anymore. Shows how much they rely on a striker like Harry Kane. What I can't understand is, and I think I saw you make the point yesterday, Jack, on Twitter. For years, people have been going, if Harry Kane gets injured, we need a striker. We need a striker to be backup who can fit in. In the past, I think they had Fernando Llorente.
Yeah,
he wasn't really.
He did his job when needed off the bench.
He did his job, but he wasn't up to that standard.
He wasn't a person you think you could rely on when Kane was injured. They needed to sign a backup striker. So they did. They signed Vinicius, and Kane gets injured. Vinicius on the bench. What is going on with this? And it's the same, and it's pretty much the same deal, same tactics as when Kane was injured last season, with Son up top having to create a lot of it himself. So I'm once again, Mourinho's hypocrisy has come to bite him in his own back end.
Absolutely.
And I don't know whether Vinicius will start the games against Chelsea and City, because also, we have to talk about it. Gareth Bale, what's happening to him? When they signed him, it seemed like such a massive deal. Like if Tottenham could get half the Bale they had, then it would propel them into a massive top 4 race. He doesn't look like a tenth of, like a 20th of the Bale they had. He doesn't look close.
Absolutely not. You completely correct. And do you know what? It saddens me to say, because I believed in the hype. Now, he could prove me wrong in the coming games, don't get me wrong, but I believed in the hype when he joined. I thought, wow, that attack, Son, Kane, Bale, that's frightening. I didn't think it would be the Gareth Bale at all that we saw at Spurs or in the early years at Real Madrid. Nothing like that. But I thought that talent will still shine through in the Premier League when he's getting a real run of games. Now, to be fair, he's not had a real run of games. He hasn't really. Mourinho's not really given him that opportunity. And people keep saying, Mourinho needs to give him a chance. When he does come on, he doesn't really look interested. He doesn't really look at it. And I mean, he played well against Wickham, who got slapped 7-2 by Brentford. So I mean, so all of a sudden people are going, whoa, well you got to start him against Liverpool, and everyone's going, really? And he doesn't really do anything. And then yesterday he gets played, and again it's just not working at the moment. And you have to say, at the end of the season, will Spurs really go to Real Madrid and go, yeah, we'll take him on a permanent? Why would you? For that amount of money, what has he really contributed? He gets played mainly in the Europa League and the Cup games, and still, there's nothing well-beating about it. So, I mean, for Spurs, that would be a really frustrating one, because everyone, and I can imagine Spurs fans were so excited about Gareth Bale coming back, just hasn't looked even half the player of what he was.
Not even close. And I'm surprised I'm not seeing more urgency from him, because you've got to think, if this fails, which it completely has done so far, what happens to him after this? Spurs won't get him on a permanent, and then he goes back to Real Madrid, where he was never going to get a minute anyway.
I can only see sort of a move to maybe China.
Into Miami or something.
So you remember the China move was rumoured a couple of seasons ago, and then they stopped him at the last minute. He was going to earn big money, because I don't think any Premier League team, they won't take him with the wages on, and I don't think they would want to take him anyway, because he's a big name, but he's not cutting it. And I think that's the problem at the moment. I think Inter Miami's a good shout. He could easily go to the MLS and because I mean, how old is Gareth Bale now?
It's a great question. He always feels either 20 or 30 and nothing in between.
Is he early 30s?
I don't know. I don't really want to. I mean, do I look it up? Do we?
I think he's early 30s. That's what I would guess.
I don't know if he is.
This is the big question for the pod. This is why we need fans, Jack, to just text us in straight away.
I mean, he's been around for a while.
He's 31.
31. So, I mean, this is the twilight of his career. It's slowly going to go down from there.
It's just slowly fading.
Yeah.
And it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing for everybody in the Premier League, because even though he was at Spurs, and I was thinking, God, I don't want them to be good. At the same time, I did think to myself, wow, Gareth Bale he was such a player when he was here. I remember my brother's a real armchair. I don't think you can even have an armchair Spurs fan, because it's not like is it a big club to support? I don't even know anymore. But even though back in the day when I'd be at home and watch Spurs with Jack, just watching Gareth Bale, he was different class, and then gets that move to Real Madrid, comes back to Spurs, and it has not worked out.
Because this is a man that, how many years ago did he score 2 goals in a Champions League final?
It was only 3 years ago,
including
wasn't it?
Arguably the best Champions League goal of all time.
Was it 2016?
In the Champions League? I think it's more recent than that. It's got to be more recent than that, because Liverpool. It was on Liverpool's big run.
I
think it's like 2018, 2017, 2018.
Well, yeah, because they won it the next year, didn't they?
Yeah,
they won it the next year against Spurs.
Bayern 2020, Liverpool 2019, lost in the final 2018. 2018. Yeah. That's not even 3 years ago. He was highlighted on the biggest stage in the world, and look at him now.
And that was when he wasn't even really getting a significant run in the side.
And now he's getting pocketed.
He was fitting in.
Now he's getting pocketed at the Amex by Potter's Brighton.
Yeah. By Dan Burn. It has not worked out. That is a one way of saying it, for sure.
Well, I think it's the perfect segue, isn't it? Today is the 1st of February as we're recording this. It's technically transfer deadline.
It feels weird that we're in Feb, Jack. It feels weird.
January feels like it's gone on for a long old time. It feels like a new year.
Yeah, it actually does.
But it's
January certainly dragged.
we're in a new month, but it's still transfer deadline day today. I mean, we'll get it out of the way early. I think the only bit of high-profile news is Liverpool might be actually signing centre-back in Ben Davies from Preston. You know, I'm quite a fan of. I've always thought he was a Premier League centre-back rather than a Preston North End centre-back. And for £2 million, I think that's a good deal for someone that you only need for 6 months to keep you going. Left-footed, I think that'll help them as well. To stick him on that left side, if he can get to grips with the system quickly, I think that's a nice little plug stop in the back four. Right, that's this season out of the way because there's nothing else going on. Nothing else is happening.
Oh, it's so dull. I don't even care about that bet. I don't even care about that Ben Davies.
Yeah,
I saw it yesterday and genuinely thought, who?
How many people do you think saw that and first thought was, that's weird. Ben Davies is a left back, and Tottenham's barely even playing him.
I woke up this morning and everybody was just sort of taking the mick because they were going, transfer deadline day, here we go. Jim White is going to get the yellow tie on to announce that Ainsley Maitland-Niles might be going on loan. You know, it's absolutely
Arsenal news.
pointless.
I think Arsenal's prime news is we've got 3 people probably going out on loan today.
Yeah.
So that I'll keep up keep up to date with that. I mean, that's the. I mean,
but this is the thing.
It's very January though, isn't it? It's very rare that we see the big January moves now anymore. With I when I think of January moves now, all I can think of is like the whole Carroll Suarez Torres debacle, and that was 2011.
Yes, because that's my favourite January transfer window.
Okay,
that's my favourite.
I'm struggling to think of another one.
It makes me so happy thinking about that one because that was the one where I remember being sat in front of the computer at home, and you had that. I was like to my mum, "Can I stay up a bit later because it's window closes at 11?" And I remember it was the window we signed David Luiz, and then the late drama with Fernando Torres, and everyone's going, he's got a helicopter to Cobham, and all this, and there's so much drama. I absolutely loved it. That is by far my favourite transfer window. And specifically because you had those big moves as well, like Andy Carroll, Luis Suarez. It was crazy.
It's so bizarre.
Since then, have we seen anything of the like? No.
In the same window, so they get 50 mil for Torres, and then in the same window, they spend 35 of it on Carroll, and then we'll lob another 20 on this young upstart Luis Suarez.
It says a lot, doesn't it? This is the thing. It was such a great window. I absolutely loved that one. And then I remember since then, I think my expectations were so high of just like deadline days where I was like, I remember at school, God, this sounds so sad.
Can't wait for it.
I remember at school on a deadline day, during lunch, I would go up to the IT suite and I would sit in front of the computer for the hour being like, whoa, let's see, has anyone got any rumours? Who's being spoken about? And it was just like, and then lunch would end, and I wouldn't think about it then, but I think about it the next day and think, what a sad thing to do, Will. Like, why don't you just go outside rather than see whether Mesut Ozil could be on the move today to Arsenal? It was painful.
You've made the biggest one sound sad. I've stayed in front of a computer. I've stayed in front of a computer for much less climactic deals than that. Because what I'm gonna say is I mean, January and the summer, put it to one side. Let's just talk about the transfer window in general, winter or summer, and our favourite experiences. You've mentioned yours that day. You're signing Fernando Torres. I remember as a neutral thinking that what happens from here. I can only envision Torres in red. Is the league going to collapse on itself? What's going to happen? Are Chelsea going to win everything? And then
they were the good old days.
Yeah, and so. For an Arsenal one, I think it has to be Mesut Ozil. That day,
that's the only one I could think of for you.
I mean, I remember. I can't remember whether we signed. No, we signed Sanchez after, and Ozil was a lot bigger because before that our record signing was Andrei Arshavin for £15 million.
Yeah, that's a good buy.
I love the man. One of my cult heroes at Arsenal, but. We'd never like that was the story for Arsenal. We were always in the top four, but we never spent to get any further. And then we just hear on deadline day, we think it's another year of nothing, and out of absolutely nowhere, we just start hearing Mesut Ozil's getting on a flight to London. He's coming to the Emirates. I'm hearing. We're like, what is going on? Mesut Ozil, then an absolute superstar, an absolute world superstar. We never see anything like this at Arsenal. If we had superstars, it was superstars that we've made over the last 10 years, that we've had to make. We'd never signed a ready-made, bona fide superstar until then. And that was just like the excitement. I was on the website ready to buy the shirt there and then Ozil on the back.
Really? Did you?
Yeah. As soon as I saw it confirmed, the order was placed. It was done.
Goodness me.
It was so massive. And I mean,
what about Aubameyang?
Aubameyang was big, but we'd already had the feeling by then. We'd signed in the previous windows Lacazette, Sanchez in the one before. We were starting to get there then. Aubameyang was big because of the form he was in. I mean, we didn't expect the form he would carry into Arsenal and propel us into Europa League, because these last couple of years we were mid-table teams with Aubameyang propelling us into the Europa League. So like he's arguably been our best signing maybe in this era. I think best signings. I mean when I think of best players in this era, my mind immediately goes to Santi Cazorla.
Yeah, and I mean he was just so unfortunate with injuries. That was a shame, because he on his day he was actually a proper player. I remember he would come up against Chelsea at times, and I think, oh, just get off the pitch. It really pissing me off, because like we can't do anything. Like he was just he was a magician, and I mean, but he's showing it now he was showing it over in Spain.
Yeah. I mean, he's like mid-30s now, coming off of a near career-ending injury, and he's still near the top of the assist charts in a Europa League, Champions League threatening team. It's absolutely incredible the level he's on. So he might be the best like pound for pound signing, but for moments I have to go for Mesut for us for that signing. And no matter how badly it's ended with Ozil, those first 2-3 seasons he had for us, even maybe even 4 if you stretch it, were still some of the best performances I've seen in an Arsenal shirt. That year that Giroud robbed him of the assist record, he had like 9, he had like 15 by Christmas and finished on 19 because Giroud went on a 12-game goal drought.
I mean, but in terms of just, a couple of my favourite signings. Yeah. For me, one of the first ones that I can think of is Diego Costa.
Yeah.
In recent years, Diego Costa, that was, nobody really knew that a huge amount. They didn't know whether he would properly cut it. But having just that sort of striker to replace that void that Didier Drogba had, it was insane. The link-up that he had with Fabregas, and you could tell that every game he went into, he really went all in, 110%. There was no holding back. And he was one of those players that if he doesn't play for your club, he's hated. Everybody hated him but Chelsea fans. And then another one, which is really rogue, was Andre Schürrle. For some reason, I had this obsession with Andre Schürrle. I bought a Schürrle shirt when he joined the club. And I remember putting it on my Instagram like I'd just run the raffle. And he liked the photo, and it was like, whoa! It was like, oh my god!
So few people bought his shirt that he was liking everyone.
He was probably searching his name, going, hey, anyone bought one? Will Varney, yeah. But so no, for some reason, I really liked Andre Schürrle. I was a real sort of fan of his. And then when he left, that was a sad day for me to bid farewell. But I still have the shirt, still have the memories from that.
And just to round off on the transfer talk, we have to do it. I feel like both of us have decent experience of it. Biggest flops transfers.
Is this for our club?
Our club. I think we'll go with our club. Maybe if we're still here by the summer, we can do like a big every club dossier of transfers.
This won't be hard for me.
Is it? I'm
Chelsea flops.
Is it by any chance a little Spanish keeper?
Yes, he's definitely there. Kepa. You can't be spending 72 million on a keeper, and and be as poor as he has been. Don't get me wrong, there was a season where he actually made some good saves, and you go, whoa, this guy, he can cut it, he can do it. But since then, he's just fallen off the wagon massively. I mean, so every time he's in the squad now, anytime he's in the starting 11, I worry. I'm immediately worried. It scares me. I mean, even the most recent game against Luton, makes a mistake. Games before, makes a mistake. It's almost like he loves to make a mistake. So for me, he has to be on there. Not even just for the price tag, but just not even doing his job really. And it's sad to see. Another one for me though, Danny Drinkwater. 100%. I don't know who has thought, you know what we should do? We should drop £40 million on Danny Drinkwater to reunite him with N'Golo Kante. It's never going to work. We dropped 40 mil.
The mindset of that
he's now over in Turkey trying to reignite his career.
It's such nonsense thinking behind
it is.
Okay.
Wait, it was a panic buy. It was deadline day. It was a panic buy.
Okay, Leicester win the league. We'll sign their best player from that season, N'Golo Kante. Okay.
Yeah.
He comes in. He helps us win the title. He was clearly the key to that midfield.
Yes.
But what if we get the other one, just in case?
What if we get the other one?
We'll get the other one that no one talks about. That for more. Was like the same price or more than Kante.
Don't get me wrong. Danny Drinkwater and N'Golo Kante were brilliant in that season that Leicester won the league. But like you've just said it there, that was a panic buy on deadline day, and they went, oh, we could get Danny Drinkwater, and Leicester went 40 mil, and we went, nah, probably not. No, seriously, what shall we get for Danny Drinkwater? And they're going 40 mil, and they've gone, oh, you've got us. Go on then.
I've tried to haggle.
Do it. He scored a really good goal against Stoke. I remember. I think it was in the FA Cup. Scored a really good goal against Stoke, and all I've seen since him posting on Instagram is just that one goal because he never played again.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember he went to Villa on loan.
Yeah. Oh, and he was awful there. He was awful.
He was awful there. One of my friends, Tom, has said he is one of the worst players I've seen in a Villa shirt in recent years by far, because every time he had the ball at his feet, it was immediately lost. And for me, I think he got binned off Villa because he headbutted one of their players. So then he was out the door then, and then he's now over in Turkey trying to resurrect his career. It's sad to see but again, it's just silly money being thrown at players who aren't cutting it.
I think I tweeted during that Luton game. I said I think £72 million. I think Kepa might be the pound for pound biggest flop in terms of money spent due to alongside performances.
I think it has to be
because last season especially was so bad as well. But now you've thrown Drinkwater in the mix, and it's for money because at least Kepa played. He played 2 seasons.
Yeah,
35 mil, and I can hardly
I swear
recall.
He played a game.
I can hardly recall Drinkwater wearing a Chelsea shirt once. Apart, I mean, if he
played
scored
that
in the
one
cup,
game, that was it. Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, that could be a high ringer. Luckily, as an Arsenal fan, because we've only recently started spending big, we don't have many flops. I think the biggest flop we can probably confess to is probably Nicolas Pepe. And here's the thing: I don't think Nicolas Pepe is an awful player. He's just not a £72 million player.
No, he's not.
Every week I realise that he's scoring 30 goals in that Ligue 1 season because the Ligue 1 defences are playing on the halfway line.
And it was big money for... Yeah, he is not a £70 million player.
Record signing. And now I've realised, just having that figure 72 million in the brain, him, Kepa, Havertz is about the same money. That fee is cursed. That fee is cursed.
Havertz needs time, but he could easily join that bracket.
I'm happy with that. I mean, I was so big on Havertz and so annoyed that you signed him. I think we've already mentioned it last week. But I think I'll give him a season. But if by next summer,
you're right.
If by next summer, I mean, if it's on current projection, he's been worse than Pepe.
Yeah, no, I back that 100%. 100%. It's been sad to watch so far. But like we said, time is of the essence. And
I could list off a whole load of cheap signings we've done over the last decade that didn't work out. People, Andre Santos, Gervinho, Schillaci, just to name a few.
Ooh, Sebastian Schillaci.
Yeah. But
that is a blast from the past.
I mean, my own Donny Marwan Shamak himself as well.
Shamak,
my guy Shamak. None of them really working out. So it's a good thing we have started spending because we've got a decent hit rate at the minute. I will say. I think Partey had a bad game against United. I will say that, but it's probably the first bad game I've seen from him. Yeah, I've been really impressed from him. Gabriel, I quite like him. Needs a bit of time, I think. He's a hit or miss whether he makes the team at the minute, but which is weird because he won 3 Player of the Months for us at the start of the season. Aubameyang, I mean, bad season, but you can't discredit the 2 seasons he's had before. People like Alexis Sanchez in the season before that. Lacazette finally coming into form now. He's been so nearly there, but not quite hitting the numbers. So yeah, I think our hit rate's okay.
A positive Arsenal fan. Wow,
we're getting there. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll wait till next week. We'll see how the weekend's games go.
This time next year when we've signed another 80 million player that's not performing.
Yeah, the 2022 edition of Who Was the Flop.
To round us out, I think we have to do the fantastic hit rate. Speaking of hit rate, our predictions
We're off to a flyer. We've been so
weeks.
Good.
After 2 weeks, a maximum of 5 points per game. We've done 6 games. 30 points up for grabs. Current score, 2-2.
Oh, God. Jeez. And this is a football-based podcast. Should we just stop talking?
I mean, the unpredictability of the Premier League, eh? Wow. What a league.
Well, actually, I have a bone to pick because last week you agreed that one of the games would be Newcastle Leeds for the predictions. You swapped it last minute. Yeah. Off camera, behind the scenes of Pick That One Out podcast, you swapped it, and I had in that game, 2-0 Leeds, Harrison to score, and you did me out of that. There would be points on the board. I would be up and running.
I mean, you got to adapt. You got to adapt to the game, and the issue with that is Newcastle Leeds, right? Newcastle Leeds, Man United Arsenal. I see Man United Arsenal on the fixture list, and I'm thinking I can't have Newcastle Leeds be on our top billing over this. It's not.
I feel like people are going to be going to look out for predictions now because they've seen how bad we've been. So I think this could be a big week for you and I.
This is the turnaround. This is the turnaround.
We need to prove. I said all good things come in threes. Episode 3.
Will, we just need to be given time.
We need time.
We just need time.
Here we go.
By the end of the season, we're doing some big numbers. Okay, let's start off. This is a big one. And we've got a big triple header here. I believe Thursday night, Tottenham, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Tottenham, Chelsea. Big game. I'm going to start this week because I keep letting you start and you keep nicking what I'm going to say. So I've got to...
because it's worked out so well for both of us.
I've got to butt in first. You were talking earlier, you think it's going to be a really good game. I disagree. I think it's going to be a bad game.
I don't know. I don't know if I said it's going to be a good game. That could be putting words in my...
I might have to get back the footage.
Entertaining game.
I might have to get the edit out on that. I think you might have said that. I'm not seeing a high scorer. Mourinho will be terrified of his recent form. Tuchel is happy to pass the ball about against a team that will sit back. I'm going safe, low scoring, 1-0 to Tuchel's Chelsea. I do think he nicks it in the end due to Spurs' form. Goal scorer. I'm going to go big money Mason Mount. I think it could be like a long shot or something. Like after trying to break him down, not working, falls
Is that
out to
like for
Mount.
Added points? You're now
to describe the goal.
Describe the goal for double points.
I mean, if you'll accept it, who knows? But no, I'll go big money Mace. 1-0 Chelsea. What are you saying?
I'm going to go 2-0 Chelsea. I'm going to back us. Why not? I think we've looked solid at the back so far. I think attacking wise, we look good against Burnley. I know it's a whole different outfit against Spurs. But no, I think that new manager bounce coming in, hopefully we have it. I'm going to go 2-0 Chelsea. I'm going to go Christian Pulisic to score. I think he's going to... Okay. He looked a bit sharper these last couple of games as well. On the ball, creating chances to obviously set up that Alonso goal as well against Burnley. Yeah, I'm going to go Big Chris. Okay. So I'm going to go 2-0 Chelsea.
Well, you're up first for this one. One I'm not looking forward to. I think this could be poor. Villa Arsenal. It's a big game. Villa spanking the Arsenal at the Emirates 3-0 earlier in the season.
It's an early kick-off, which always does throw up some drama.
Never back it.
I'm going to go 2-1 Villa.
Okay.
And Villa have looked in really good form. They've looked in really good nick. Not in just in recent games, in just grinding out results. Even when they may not have been playing as well, but just getting those results on the board, especially like against Southampton, when Southampton were really unlucky.
Yeah.
But Villa look really good this season. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa, because they always like to spring up a surprise as well. I'm going to go Ollie Watkins to score. He's looked a great sign.
Yeah, looks good.
A lot of question marks about him. Championship striker, come in, has looked right at home. 2-1.
Okay, I think there's goals in this. I do think there's goals in this, whether it's for both teams or one team. I'm not sure. I see goals in this. Two of the... like I say, I keep an eye on the XG data. In terms of the form, these are two of the top scoring XG teams in the last 5 games.
Nice little stat to throw in there. It gives us some credibility.
Villa have been in that top 5 all season, always threatening. But the XG gods are starting to go against them in terms of like the... I mean, they conceded like 2 XG against Southampton. They really shouldn't have won that game. And yeah, there's been other points where they're not... The defence doesn't look quite as solid as it was.
Okay.
But the attack still does. I'm going 2-2. Desmond.
Okay. A goal scorer?
A goal scorer.
Who are you going?
I can't be sure that Saka's fit. I'm going to go Ross Barkley. He loves it against us. I feel like once again another long ranger. I think could do a...
Yeah, describe the goal. Describe the goal. New feature on that one.
And finally, in terms of table and what it means for the title, probably the biggest game of the season so far, Manchester City versus Liverpool. It's a massively build game. So do you know what that means, Will? I'm going 0-0.
Yep, I think that's fair enough.
I'm going for another disappointing big game. I think both teams will be scared to lose. I think they'll both threaten. City, especially without De Bruyne, might think we're in good form. We're top of the table. If we don't lose this, it's a win for us. So I'm going to say 0-0.
I'm going to go 1-1. I was going to go for a draw. I'm going to go 1-1. I think there will be a couple of goals in there. And in terms of a goal scorer, at the minute, I can't really look past Mo Salah.
Fair.
And how he's looking coming up against defences. So I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to join you on the draw, but I'm going to go Mo to score.
Okay, and that's it. And I can't wait to see how those big old points come in.
We need points. We need points to light up this predictions table.
Oh, we need it big time. I mean, we might have to start adding in third parties, but I mean, it's not going to take much for them to catch up.
Just get people to join the predictions. Just anybody.
I mean, it's not going to take long for them to catch up. They could easily just join in whenever.
No, that's actually quite embarrassing to hear. But yeah, it's true.
Okay, well. Before we come to a close, since we are a new podcast, I'd like to remind everyone to check out the rest of our platforms. We're making it big on YouTube now. 2 episodes, they both made it onto YouTube on Pick That One Out Football Podcast. If you're watching there, please make sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe to always make sure you are seeing when the new episode is out. We're on Twitter at PTTOpod. 2 highlights have gone up there. For
they are highlights. They are
highlights. What were the highlights? Big Sam sausage sarnie and
sandwich,
the hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate meltdown. Yeah. So real football based. It's high octane sports news.
I'm living the gimmick as well. There's still nothing on the TikTok at Pick That One Out, but like I say, we're building.
We're under pressure. I'm getting people to say we need.
Oh, no.
There's pressure. People are saying, "Why should I follow the TikTok if there's nothing on it?" Jack?
To be fair, there's 3 episodes now. I'm saying I don't want to put my neck on the line. I'm saying there's a decent chance something's on there this week. Get following to see it.
Okay.
Get following at Pick That One Out on TikTok.
I might have to make an account
for episode highlights. That's full time on episode 3 then. We're going to have to rank this fruit salad for Breakfast Club. It seems underwhelming, but he can't lose to a 1 out of 10 hot chocolate, surely.
No. I'm gonna go 4 out of 10 on this one.
It's still
Jack.
poor.
And the reason why is I felt uncomfortable eating it in front of a microphone.
Oh, that's true. I mean, what I will say, I'm glad you brought that up. Last week in the edit, I noticed you slamming the hot chocolate next to the mic a lot.
It must have been very angry for me. This fruit salad, I've wanted to sort of touch it, but at the same time, I did eat a piece of watermelon as we were recording, and I just thought, like, this is not working for me. I was tentatively
Easy with a drink.
eating it. So no, I'm gonna yeah, I've got a lot of Kiwi to tuck into as well.
Yeah.
So no, I'm going to go 4 out of 10. It hasn't set the world alight, but it did
Table
a much better
topper
job
though.
than the hot
Table
chocolate, that's for
topper
sure.
at the minute.
Yeah, stick it up there. Yeah, we're going to do a ranking. Keep it up there.
Can't wait for it. Okay, well, it's a goodbye from both of us then. Thank you very much, Will, for joining us. We'll see you for episode 4 next week. Goodbye.
Yeah, perfect.